in my phone.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino. Coming at you an hour early on a Monday. What's going on, everybody? The King's Court. Got a double header on If You Don't Like That today. We're going to be back at 4 o'clock, getting you ready for the double dose of Monday Night Football. How did week 3 treat you? And I want to hear from everybody. There's one group that I really want to hear from, and that's Niner fan. I'm sure you've digested yesterday's loss. You've looked at what the offseason was and how it wasn't exactly what I think the Niners expected, especially with Brandon Ayuk. But yesterday, the Niners dropped to 1-2. 1-2 in last place in the NFC West, which to me, I'm not worried. If I'm a Niners fan, I'm not. Look, this is coming from Seattle guy. This is Seattle fan talking to you for a second. Thrilled to be 3-0. So happy. It ain't going to last. Seattle is not built to last. Now, they've had an easier schedule than the Niners have for the most part. But I guess what I'm saying is, where's your head at? Because here's what I'm worried about with the Niners. The things that the Niners hang their hats on, complementary football being one of them, defense, picking up the offense, special teams, usually pretty damn good. In fact, Bosa was talking about this last week before the game. He's like, we got to play complementary football. We're not playing complementary football. And what happened yesterday? It's as far from complimentary football as it could possibly be. So I want to hear from all you. The time schedule on the show, by the way, brought to you by Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland. Make sure you go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can check out all of their locations. Got 3 in all. And then make sure you also look at their specials online. Specials are amazing, and hopefully you made it out for brunch this last weekend. Beautiful weekend for brunch here in Sacramento. But anyways, a full slate to talk about. We're starting out with the Niners. And by the way, 4 o'clock today, Grant and I, we get you ready for tonight, Monday Night Football. You got a double dip. It is the Bills and the Jaguars kicking things off. And then it's the Commanders and the Bengals. What's your confidence level in the Bengals right now? I'm just curious. Aren't they kind of the kings of the NFL in that they play up and down to their competition? So tonight they return home. T. Higgins, by the way, off the injury report. That's good news if you are a Bengals fan. They showed up in Kansas City last week. In fact, I think they should have won that game in Kansas City last week. No idea why Zach Taylor called a timeout on 4th down. Defense was rolling. Momentum was going the right way. And then you let Kansas City settle in. And what happened? She get a PI call right there, I believe, 4th and 16. Speaking of Kansas City, by the way, Grant and I, 4 o'clock. Make sure you're back right here on If You Don't Like That. But speaking of Kansas City, what the hell is going on with Travis Kelce? And I don't want to get into the Taylor Swift stuff. Did him and Taylor break up? Are they on a riff? What's going on offensively, football-wise, with the Chiefs and Travis Kelce not being used much there? Obviously, there's a video making the rounds at the end of the game last night against Atlanta. Although the Chiefs won the game, Kelce appeared to be a little sad, a little down in the dumps. Who knows? long football season. Hate to see that this early, though, in week 3. So back to what we led with, and that is the Niners and the Rams yesterday. I did not watch the game live, but I listened to the game. And I can almost guarantee you there is not anybody watching this right now that was as upset as Greg Papa. Greg Papa's call when the Niners started unfolding in the fourth quarter. Ronnie Bell dropping the ball. You get the Rams driving down the field. The punt, by the way, the punt return to set up position. They didn't even drive down the field. I wish KNBR would post that because Greg Papa illustrated it perfectly. He was lit. But going back to the start of that game, we came into it saying, who's going to be your number one receiver? I didn't think it's Brandon Ayuk. In fact, I still don't think it's Brandon Ayuk. Check this out. From 2018 to 2023, the Niners led the NFL in yards after catch. It's their trademark. Physical football. Pick up, catching the ball is just the beginning of the play. You go, run through a wall, break some tackles. You know where the Niners sit as of today in the NFL in catch or yards after catch? Dead last. Dead last. 3.14 yards a catch. Now, I hate to have a day like yesterday that Juwan Jennings absolutely showed out 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. It sucks that that's overshadowed by the Niners' loss. Juwan Jennings, incredible game. Incredible. And in fact, last week I sat here and I said, that's your number one receiver right now. It's not Brandon Ayuk. And he showed up. And he showed out some spectacular plays. And by the way, yes, that was Levi's South. Look at all the red in the stands there. And there were no shortage of fights in the stands either. I can't stand seeing these fights at games. And for whatever reason, Niners fan always seems to be in the middle of it. I'm going to give you a pass. Because LA, a lot of fights happen down there during games. Just go to YouTube. But let them fight on the field. Why are you going to pay that much money to go to a game? Tailgate. What is it, like 13, 14 bucks a beer now? And then you're going to catch a misdemeanor or a felony? And not even see the entire game? It's ridiculous. So anyways, going back to last week, as I said, Bosa was talking about what the Niners needed to do to be successful, complementary football. Here's what he had to say.
I think we could do a much better job of playing complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams. When our offense isn't doing great, we need to pick it up for them or sudden change, stuff like that. And vice versa. So, yeah, we're without Debo and Christian, and but we have plenty of playmakers.
Do you, though? Do you? The running game yesterday, not nearly what it usually is. Now, granted, Mason played pretty well, 77 yards on the ground. You look at the total stats, the Niners had 425 yards of offense. They were rolling in the first quarter. Rolling, had plenty of opportunities, and then there's a 4th and mid. It was about 4th and 5, 4th and 6. And what happens? The Rams fake it. And this is where the momentum of the game completely changed. If I am Kyle Shanahan and I am looking at one area of this team that has completely failed throughout 2.5 games, it is the special teams. Special teams has been bad. Really, really bad. They allow this. And in fact, they should have identified that so quickly. The up man, the personal protector, was a running back for the Rams. It was a direct snap, gets the first down, and that gave the Rams a little bit of belief. That kind of got them back in the game. Bane, what's up, man? Yes, Tuesday. It's Tuesday. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody here on the King's Court. Yeah, we're going early because we've got a 4 o'clock. Grant and I will be back getting you ready for Monday Night Football and talking about the entire NFL slate from yesterday and then maybe a little bit of college. You guys remember last weekend, Deion Sanders getting on the reporter about the rain? Coach, this is how it went. I'm not going to play the sound drop. Coach, now that the forecast has changed, what are you going to do to prepare for the rain? Deion goes on a what weather app do you have? What are you talking about, man? My phone's accurate. What? No, 60% no rain. No, we're not going to prepare for the rain. What happened the entire second half? Rain. Now Colorado pulled a rabbit out of their hat at the end, and my guy Travis Hunter, this kid is pretty much sealing himself as the next big thing in the NFL. But yes, Bane, we are early today. Here we go. Is there anything more annoying than Dax? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. I mean, it's cute once in a while, but when you hear it every offensive play, that starts to wear on you a little bit. Bane and everybody else, we are actually going to be off tomorrow from the King's Court. No Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. I hate to break the bad news to you, but I am actually having dental surgery tomorrow. So that's why there's going to be no Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. And, you know, I could maybe come on here and do a King's Court. You all might find it pretty entertaining. I might drool on the microphone, you know, probably a little bit out of it, but I'll have my teeth fixed. So I'm happy about that. But no, Jerry, maybe we'll try to work it out later in the week. I know, Bane, my man. I know. We'll see if we can get it worked out. Jerry and I might do a pre-tape to make up for it, but that's why we are on today. But hey, Bane, comes with the territory, man. You get a couple of hip replacements. They put you on some really nasty medication that can cause a lot of bad acid in your body, and the rest is history. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to not having to hide my mouth behind this mic. So anyways, getting back to the game in the Niners, that fake punt changed everything. I don't think there's any question about it. And then I go back to Deebo Samuel last week, right? This guy is not Deebo, excuse me. I go back to Brandon Ayuk. He hasn't looked right. The timing is clearly off with him and Brock. Now, I will expect, and I am fine with the timing being off. That is to be expected when you miss training camp like BA did. What I'm not okay with is the conditioning. Did you watch Dallas this weekend? Have you watched what CeeDee Lamb has done through the first 3 weeks of the season? He held out 2. And dude doesn't look like he missed a beat. Now, Brandon Ayuk, I can't speak for him. I don't know what he was doing other than the video he posted on social media of him catching footballs through his tree. But dude is not right. In fact, the media pounded him a little bit on that. They're like, what's this like? What's going on? Like, did you expect this to be as difficult of a hill to climb, getting back and missing camp? And Brandon didn't think it was really that big of a deal.
Did you underestimate how much of a progression this would be for you?
I wouldn't say underestimate, but I wouldn't say underestimate.
Well, the Niners definitely underestimated the importance of having him on the field. And I'm not going to go through every single play. We know the end result of what happens. The Rams come back, ultimately win the game. But Niners fans, this is what my question is to you. How are you feeling, number one, about this team? But number two, do you see this team turning it around? I've already said I see the team turning it around. The one thing that I don't like is they look tired. They look really tired, and it's only week 3 of the season. And call it Super Bowl fatigue, call it whatever you want. I really think it goes back to the offseason. I think the off the field circumstances between Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk. Then you lose Christian McCaffrey in training camp. I think all of that combined really wore this staff out. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, guy looks beat already. So do you think they can turn this around? Do you think that they are going to be fine? Because that Rams team was depleted, very depleted. And the Niners have always, how much are they paying their defensive line? A ton of money. Defense has been their calling card so long. Matthew Stafford was barely touched yesterday. And then you have 7 penalties for 111 yards. Yeah, Grant was worried, Bane. It's a really good point. Grant was worried about it. We talked about it. Now, I'm one of those guys. It's a long season. In fact, if you said, would you rather be the San Francisco 49ers right now, or would you rather be the Minnesota Vikings? I would lean towards the 49ers for the very reason that you want to get hot at the end. That's when you want to hit your stride. You don't want to hit it too early. Buffalo commonly hits their stride too early. So that's why I think the Niners ultimately get it turned around. But Kyle Shanahan, after the game, said, didn't need to tell the team much. The disappointment was there. They knew.
Yeah. We never asked Brock to really do too much. We asked him.
Oh, that's the wrong quote. That's from earlier this week. My bad. Let's get to the right one. Kyle Shanahan after the game.
Disappointing of a loss that was. I knew everyone was pissed without them having to tell me, and we should be. When you have a game like that where you feel you have every chance to win and you don't get it done, those are usually the more disappointing ones. All 3 phases had their doing that, but there was also times that a phase could take over and not even allow it to come to something. And I told them last night, you got to take their hope away. You give Stafford too much hope, and you put the ball in his hands at the end. That's not a situation you want to be in. And we had every chance to avoid that situation a number of times, and we came up short.
Kyle Shanahan also talked about the special teams. I got Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings up right there. The special teams, that is getting cleaned up, or that coach is getting fired. Where do you stand on that? Because when you're that good, you can't have these problems. And let's take away the kickoff returns. I mean, there is a different strategy when it comes to kickoffs now with the dynamic kickoff, but the punt returns, the lack of vision to see a possible fake coming there. And Kyle really expanded on that. He absolutely thought that fake kick was where, or the fake punt was where this game turned around.
Way as always. I mean, last year we lost 3 in a row. So you know how that it's going to be regardless. We lost 3 in a row after winning 5 in a row. But still, I know how that felt then. I know how our guys feel now. I know how we felt all week. Had a real good week of practice. Thought it would carry over to the game, and it did in a lot of areas. There were some areas where that's why I thought we had a chance to not only just win but run away with it. And you still got to make those plays in the heat of battle, though. There were some big third downs where we could have got off the field. Obviously, the fake punt where we should have got off the field. But you let teams hang around in this league, let alone one with that type of quarterback. That stuff happens more often than not.
And you can't put it on the shoulders of Brock Purdy. I thought Brock Purdy played a great game. And the offensive line for now 2 games in a row, to me, have not protected him well. They couldn't have played better in the opener against the Jets. What's up, Kevin? Happy Monday, my man. Welcome in. How you doing today, buddy? Yeah. Anybody go to WWE at G1C on Friday? Anybody hit that up? Let me know in the chat. I heard Cody stuck around for a while and hung with some of the fans there close to ringside. Hope you're having a good one, Kev. But back to Brock Purdy. Played a great game. Now, arguably, he did miss a throw, or he missed Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk was open up the seam. Purdy didn't see it, but the guy was running for his life. He did everything that he could to keep plays alive. You can't put it on him, but one thing that you certainly can do is you can talk about the lack of complementary football. Again, something Bosa talked about, I talked about. Here's Brock Purdy after the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty high, with all of us and the standard that we have of, obviously winning and closing out games. And, when you got a 14-point lead, obviously, anything can happen. But for us, it's like, all right, we have the momentum. Let's run with it. We have a good enough team to finish out a game, pretty early and put up points every drive, offensively. So, we're all pretty frustrated. So we just got to watch the film, get better from it. And, we win and lose as a team. Everyone has their moments, but, man, more than anything, I just feel like comes down to complementary football, man. Once the defense gets a stop, we have to score, and we have to be hard on ourselves with that. And, just everything all together tied in. So it's 4 quarters of that. You miss out on an opportunity and give the other team life. It's the NFL, man. The other guys on the other side are really good, and they'll make you pay for it. So we had to learn the hard way today.
They certainly did. The Niners 1-2 on the season. So Niners fan, tell me where you're at. We've got a lot of other NFL to get to as well. Want to do the whip around the league, talk about that. But first, we got to kick Monday off with Corn Dog.
Woo! Oh, man, was this a great college football weekend?
Yes.
Oh, did you see BYU stomp Kansas State?
Yes.
Oh, my. That punt return. Kansas State got caught sleeping. Like, this was they totally passed off BYU because this was in between their Arizona win and their next week versus Oklahoma State, and they got caught big time by BYU. It was just a look ahead game to them, and they got big time caught. BYU's 4-0 and ranked. I think BYU is a solid team. This conference of the Big 12 is wide open as can be.
Yeah, it is.
Probably the most wide open power conference. Maybe the SEC because it has a lot of top tier talent at the top. But yeah, it is pretty wide open. It could go. I still see it going anyway with either Arizona, Kansas State, BYU now, Oklahoma State, Utah. Arizona State is sneaky. They're 3-1. Colorado's 3-1 too. I mean, but I don't think much of Colorado. But they have explosion. That's the one thing. They don't have the power, but they can light up a firework, and they have the best player on the field both ways, no matter what.
Was that hit at the end of the game just incredible by Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter is, the best guy. I mean, he was like one of the top recruits coming out. Dion snagged him to play with Shador. They go to Jackson, and then they come to Colorado. And, Travis Hunter's playing the most snaps by far of any player in college football. The second place guy has actually played an extra game above him at the time, and he was still down by like so many snaps. Like Travis Hunter is a monster. I don't see how he's not, in New York for the Heisman. I don't see how he's not, a top 3 on the draft board. Like, he is special. Like, I wish he was at a better school. I really do. I wish he was at a better school.
I don't know that a better school would use him the way that Dion uses him.
I don't think they would use him both ways, but that explosion on either offense, if he was like paired with, Emeka Ibuka in Ohio State, or if he was paired with Ryan Williams at Bama, that would be one hell of a job of the defense to guard.
Yeah, here's the thing about Travis Hunter that's scary. Most college teams, they run the hurry up offenses, a lot of no huddling, right? The NFL, it's mostly huddling. So dude's going to get more rest in between plays if he ends up going both ways in the NFL, which I don't know. That's going to be an interesting conversation. I think Colorado's going to have to do a little bit more. Travis, specifically, his numbers are going to have to be that much better than the next person's to win the Heisman because they're just not that great of a football team, and that matters. These aren't necessarily individual awards anymore.
No, they're not essentially individual awards. It's kind of like the MVP. Best player on the best team usually will get it, unless maybe there's a fatigue vote. Where like we know Jordan and LeBron were like the best players for decades, but we had to give it to somebody else. Just how it is. Again, special, but what's really special was Tennessee's coming out party welcoming Oklahoma to the SEC.
Hey, Tennessee's the real deal. I'm sorry.
I've called it. They were going to win 10 games, and I had them losing this one on my preseason ones, but that just means they can afford a loss either to Bama or Georgia and still hit where I think they were going to hit. Fantastic both ways. Honestly, Oklahoma's defense was also not to be played with as well. They just did not have an offense. Every time they created a turnover, they would turn the boat over right back to Tennessee. Like, I think that happened twice in the game where it was back-to-back turnover where Oklahoma just couldn't get anything because the offense. Like, if you put like a Kyler Murray or a Baker Mayfield on this Oklahoma defense, that's a title contender by far.
And Nebraska, they lose. Dylan Raiola, oh man, he wants that pass back where he overthrew his tight end, wide open.
You know what? Illinois is better than we thought.
Are you ready to go there?
Really? I'm ready to. I think Illinois may be better than we thought. And
okay.
My brother, who's a Duck, he says that game scares him because it's a look ahead right before the Michigan game. That could be a big one. Illinois does play Penn State, so we'll find out which team's legit or not after this week. And then the last game I want to talk about was that Florida State Cal game.
I did not catch that one. Fill me in. Did Florida State finally win?
They did, but it was because Cal missed 2 field goals.
All right, they backed into it, huh?
And this team's 0-3. They're already, their season's done. They can't make the playoff barring winning the rest of their games. Which again, good luck again. And
I don't even think that does it.
They're barely beating. Well, if they win the ACC, they get it.
They get the automatic. Yeah, you're right.
But besides that, which I don't think they're beating Miami or Clemson, but they run onto the field acting like they won the Super Bowl. Just at the end,
the Colorado students did that too. There was questions about whether it was actually a fumble or not at the goal line, and you've got like the entire Ford Field student section already on the field.
Yeah. Again, so Cal's kicker, he missed two field goals, which could have put them within 2. So instead of going for a field goal, when they're at their 25, they had to go for a touchdown, and their O-line is just not there. Like Florida State had no business winning this game, but Cal also had, no business being in this game because the rosters is way different. Like Florida State's a $12 million roster. Cal is nowhere near that in terms of the talent and the NIL. Like, the fact that Florida State's in a dogfight with Cal and it required 2 missed field goals just to barely squeak by at home tells you a lot about where this Florida State team is.
Yep, a lot of pressure on that program. They focus, actually, I should say this, they focus too much on the transfer portal. They graduated a lot of people to the NFL last year. I think it was like 8 or 9. And so that's how it rolls. And you look at and you and I have had this conversation, the more successful programs right now, they're not dipping as much into the transfer portal. They're building from within, and they're still doing it old school in recruiting.
So, yeah, Nick Saban said this the best on College Game Day. He said it's a microwave fix, you're just trying to heat up your meal or whatever as fast as you can, but you're not, sometimes you got to really take your time, pick your ingredients, get the oven going, and then you get yourself a real 5-course meal. Mash your potatoes correctly instead of just heating up some microwave ones.
Yep.
They're still potatoes, but sometimes they're just different.
Yep. No, I hear you, man. Anything surprise you with SC getting rolled?
Not too much. Michigan's hard to beat in the big house. That's what makes Texas very impressive to me, actually, because they rolled them, and SC really didn't make this a game until garbage time. And Michigan, I think, really proved that they can still, do this at a high level. They can run the ball down your throat and keep it going for a long pace and just constantly do it. And teams that don't have lines like a Texas or, a Georgia are going to have trouble beating this Michigan team's run game. And yeah, Michigan can't pass. So if you can get ahead of them a lot to where they might have to throw it more, again, you'd have to be, a team that can explode like that, so like a Bama, a Texas, a Georgia. Honestly, Oregon might be able to. That's going to be an interesting matchup because you're dealing with a lot of a pistol action versus, a heavy option run game. That's going to be one hell of a two-sided different matchups. And that's going to be one of those, it's like which style really does prevail.
We will see. It's a long season. You gonna join us for the 4 o'clock? Getting ready for Monday Night Football?
For the 4 o'clock, and I actually am going to prepare for that right now.
You're preparing.
Yeah,
you're doing some Jerry Reynolds prep, huh?
I'm going to do some prep work.
All right, I love it. All right, can't wait. Grant's gonna want your college update. So,
oh yeah,
there you go. All right, brother. Thank you for kicking us off on the phones, man.
All right.
All right, that is for those that don't know, that is Corn Dog. He is our resident college football and women's volleyball. Yes, I did not misspeak. Women's volleyball correspondent. He brings it every now and again. I see some more people in the chat. What's up? Let's get to those questions here in a second. But first, don't forget, we are brought to you by Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. Make sure you go to bennettsrestaurants.com to learn more about all 3 of their locations. My man Dennis in the chat, he's a Bennett's dude. He's hit happy hour a couple times. The Sips and the Taste. They've got a location off of Howe and Fair Oaks also, and then one in Roseville as well. Also, if you're going to be getting together for the holidays or an office party or just a gathering, think about Bennett's in their private dining rooms. They are gorgeous, beautiful private dining rooms. You can get those rented out. All the same great Bennett's, same ambiance, same great service, and amazing prime cuts of seafood and steak. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com for more information. Huge thanks to Brian and the team for sponsoring the King's Court today. And remember, Grant and I, we are back 4 o'clock today. I don't like that one. There we go. Let's switch that around. We're back at 4 o'clock today, breaking down the NFL weekend, talking college. We want to hear from you. Get active on the phones. We're gearing up for King season. So excited for King season. We're starting to work on some of the new things that we're going to be rolling out for you, and it's going to be all of the same great coverage, pregame, halftime, postgame. This is your place to be. Last season, Jerry Reynolds joined us almost every halftime, so that was pretty cool. I'm sure he's going to be joining us again. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, we would love to have you. Get notified anytime that we go live. And then also don't forget King's Court. That's what we do. It's not just a live show. We also have our audio platform where you get exclusive daily podcasts. Well, daily once the season starts, but we're starting to pick up there. You got a couple of them last week, exclusive from the live shows. Find that on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Check it out. Would love to have you. It is your place for all Kings insider news. We break down press conferences, get audio. And by the way, nobody covers the Stockton Kings better than I do. So if you're interested in Stockton, you will love that podcast as well. So again, we're talking about the Niners. We are talking about the Rams. We can talk anything from the NFL weekend. I've got thoughts on some of the other games. Kevin is in. We already hit that. Did I go to WWE? I did not, Bane. I did not, but I did meet my friend afterwards. So that did happen. So I can neither confirm nor deny if I did hang around some WWE wrestlers. You'll have to wait for the update on that, Bane. What do you think? Is that a yeah? You think so? What do you think? Maybe. Kevin can't wait to talk about Pittsburgh's game. Yeah, Kevin, one of the more surprising 3-0 teams. That defense, stout. Justin Fields, keep him in there. Don't even think about bringing Russell Wilson into the fold, in my opinion. Incredible. Now, the question is, can they keep up with that and continue to capitalize on the Ravens? I know the Ravens got to win. That is Jerry hitting me up right now. All right. So we'll let you know if we're going to reschedule that for tomorrow. But the Ravens, they get a win in Dallas. But what's that going to look like? The Browns, man. How about the Browns? You know, they're getting everything they deserve for signing Deshaun Watson and putting him on the platform that they did. The Giants get a big win there. Niners had their chances, but could not close the game. The fake punt, Flores, that changed the momentum. And Juwan Jennings, and I know Dennis said that they blew an amazing game for him. Look, he's your number one receiver with Debo out, and hopefully you're closer to getting Debo back this week. It should be a game time decision. Kittle, what's the deal with him? Is he going to be okay to go? And look, New England rolls into town, one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, but they have a decent run game, no pass game whatsoever. They just threw for, I believe it was like 66 yards on Thursday night. The week before, they threw for 19 yards. Who's going to be the quarterback there? All signs point to Brissett as long as he is healthy. If not, Drake May probably steps into that role. But can you imagine the Niners losing at home to the Patriots? The Patriots? You'll never hear the end of it from Nick Cattles if that happens. Yep, they definitely did. Dennis, I can't count how many drop passes. Look, at what point do you start thinking about it? I'm tired of Kyle Shanahan saying Ronnie Bell had a great camp. Ronnie Bell had a great camp. Ronnie Bell had a great camp. What else are you going to say? BA wasn't, well, he was in camp. He was not practicing. Ricky Pearsall, now, before he got shot, and keep an eye out, he should be coming back in the next couple of weeks. He's on IR, but before he got shot, he was not having the best training camp either. So I think you got to look elsewhere right now. You got to start thinking about if Debo is going to be out for any extended period of time. Again, it looks like you're going to be close to getting him back, but you got to put somebody else in the damn game. Or you got to get a different receiver out there. Juwan Jennings is, as I said, he is, as you sit right now, your number one receiver, and he should be your number one receiver. And I'll ask all of you, Dennis, you're a Niners fan. What's the feeling about Brandon Ayuk? How are you feeling about Brandon Ayuk? Are you pissed? Are you understanding? Do you think, you know, what's the level of, or the, what do they call it in statistics? It's the margin of error. What's the margin of error for Brandon Ayuk? Are you giving him 3, 4, 5 games to get right? When do you start getting concerned about him? He does not look like $30 million a year. And Dennis, I don't think you were here at the start of the show. From 2018 to 2023, the Niners led the league in yards after catch. As we sit today, they are dead freaking last in the NFL with yards after the catch at 3.14 yards. It's a little bit troubling. And don't tell me it's because they're running more bubble screens. No, they're dropping the ball. There's drops. The timing is not always there. It's a problem. I get it. Give Brock some weapons. Don't disagree with you. I mean, Juwan Jennings, how much more of a weapon do you want there? The guy freaking balled out. There was nothing, like literally nothing the Rams could do to stop Juwan Jennings yesterday. Incredible game from him.
Garendo with a fake toss. Purdy looks left, now right throws. Wide open, Juwan Jennings. Touchdown! San Fran! Francisco.
First time since week 15 in opening play touchdown or an opening drive touchdown, and that was flawless.
Purdy got a quarterback draw and run for the end zone. The throw, it is caught for a touchdown by Juwan Jennings again. Touchdown, San Francisco.
And there's a penalty, or Brandon Ayuk stepped out of the back of the end zone. The back judge has got his hat off. I think this is going to stand as a touchdown.
He didn't touch the ball.
I think the penalty, I think BA stepped out. That's when the hat came off, but Jennings did not. And Brock was able to find him and throws to the right guy.
Third down. Purdy back. Purdy time. Purdy throws. Downfield wide open. Caught. Juwan Jennings has a hat trick in LA. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Listen to the momentum. They had all the damn momentum. Dennis, they had over 400 yards on offense, and you still lose the game. The defense is the problem. Howdy, howdy. What's up, John? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Kevin cracked the top 10. Oklahoma only scored when the game was over. This is true. Hunter is the 49ers' #1 pick. Okay. So does that mean that the Niners are tanking this year, Dennis, for Travis Hunter? Kevin, yes. Gold Miners helmet. Yes. My dad worked for the owner of the Gold Miners. So for those, let's see. Can I go to the long shot really quick? There you go. There's the Gold Miners helmet for you. Signed by everybody on the team. I used to be a big David Archer fan. It was David Archer, right? I think it was David Archer was my favorite player on the Gold Miners. Got to go to a lot of those games. In fact, Grant was calling games while I was on the team flying 2 games with him. We just didn't know it because I was a little kid. Let's see. Just tell him not to fall asleep. Yeah, right. Corndog falls asleep every now and again live on the air. I guess we'll take these from the bottom. Ayuk is healthy and not showing up. Ayuk is out of shape. Look, Dennis, Ayuk, he's had trouble getting pushed around in the past off the line of scrimmage. Those are the little things to me that you can only replicate in training camp. And he was not in training camp, and he's getting pushed around a little bit. He is not getting to the spots. Him and Purdy not on the same page. He's dropping balls. Hell, that last Stanford Cal gasp for you guys to try to win the game. Who dropped the ball? Who dropped it? Brandon Ayuk. So it's a problem. He does get hurt every single year. We talked about it going into the season. The numbers without some of these guys. The Niners, without any of those big weapons, are under 500. Under 500. And Trent Williams, what's going on there? Great first game. Not so good now. And by the way, too, Kittle's getting up there in age. That's the thing. Kittle is getting up there. So I'd Brock. Interested. Weapons then be better at payout. Niners paying everybody but him. Well, again, he's going to get paid. Hey, look, if there was anybody that was a little skeptical of Brock Purdy, right here, I was one of those people. Sample size, right? Well, he's got the best weapons in the league. Now, I don't think he has the best weapons in the league. I think the best weapons in the league belong to CJ Stroud in Houston, which we'll get to here in a minute. But this dude, he's legit. Brock Purdy is such a smart football player. He's nimble. He sees the field. And now he's not quite doing the Matthew Stafford with the no-look passes. Did you guys catch those yesterday? Incredible stuff. But Brock is worth every penny. But the interesting thing will be, and not a lot of people are talking about this, but if this Niners team is going to be losing some weapons and they're not going to be able to pay guys, do you build around Brock? That's the big question. Do you give him the mega contract? I think the obvious answer is yes. He's earned it. And again, long season. I already told you at the start of the show. Think the Niners are going to be completely fine. The Niners are going to be fine. They'll come around. Better to get hot late than get hot early. But I will say the Vikings are playing really damn good football. What they did to CJ Stroud was absolutely incredible. In fact, let's talk about them for a second. I am all for quarterbacks getting second chances in the NFL. Hell, Geno Smith damn near wrote the book on second chances with what he's doing in Seattle. By the way, Seattle 3-0 right now. Geno had another really good game. DK Metcalf coming into his own up there in the Pacific Northwest as well. But he gave a pathway for guys that struggled in their first stop, maybe their second stop. You're seeing other players. Baker Mayfield, we've talked about him a lot. Now, it was a struggle for Tampa. They lose this week to Denver at home. Little bit of a look ahead, let down game, I guess. I think they got caught. But either way, Baker, franchise quarterback for Tampa right now. Great stuff. How about Sam Darnold? He's had a rough shake of it. He was most recently in San Francisco. He goes, meets up with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, both Southern California guys, both quarterbacks, and he is having, Sam Darnold, an incredible season so far. His numbers are through the roof. He looks like a poised veteran quarterback. Nothing is shaking this guy, and that Vikings team is playing the best football, hands down, in the NFL. All three phases, they are the best team right now as we sit in the league. Look at what they did to CJ Stroud yesterday. 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. Oh, and they went 3 for 13, the Texans, on third down. Say what you want about Brian Flores and the Tua situation and his time as a head coach in Miami. What he is doing defensively with the scheme in Minnesota is confusing some of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't know if you caught the clip last week of Brock Purdy going up to Flores after the game, and I'm going to paraphrase here. He said, "Your scheme is crazy," and it's showing. So I just said, I'd rather get hot at the end of the season than at the beginning of the season because, again, long season, long playoffs. But if this Vikings team continues to do what they're doing, Justin Jefferson playing at a very high level, if they continue to play the one thing San Francisco is not right now, complementary football, they are going to be a problem. And as we sit, they are one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to come out of the NFC. Now, will it stay together? Will they stay healthy? Time will tell. But you got to be really impressed with what Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings are doing, and Sam Darnold getting that second shot, getting a chance. Remember the Vikings in training camp when J.J. McCarthy went down? It was like, oh, the season's over. There's no, this is going to be a down year. Darnold's going to be our starter. Well, look at this and look at what he is doing. Couldn't be happier for Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Peter, what's up, man? Welcome in. Give you a yeah. NFL has been adding games to increase revenue. The 2 preseason games were only players 50-90 play. Then season starts in the top 53, finally play. So we get at least 3 tune-up games to start the season. The fans are the suckers because we are paying to watch bad football. Well, Peter, I don't disagree with you. Yes, this whole thing, the 11-year media rights deal that the NFL renegotiated, that's why you're getting 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. In that deal, it gave ESPN, ABC, it jumped it from 17 to 23 games. So I think the problem is more the international games, the Thursday night games. There's not a player in the NFL that likes Thursday night games, even if they have good records on Thursday night, like Aaron Rodgers. But look, if it was up to the owners, Peter, this would be, and they're already talking about expanding the regular season. And as for the tune-ups, here's where I beg to differ a little bit. You're seeing a lot more of the joint scrimmages and the joint practices between teams. That's where the ones get their time. So they're not getting it in the actual preseason game. It's the practices because they are a little bit more controlled. Now, the counter to that, Peter, is the quarterbacks aren't getting hit. Guys usually aren't being brought to the ground. And that's true. That's how injuries happen. And football it can be sloppy early on. I think one big difference, though, about this year, Peter, if you look at passing this year compared to past years, it's down. Teams are running the ball more, which it's a little bit more of a boring style depending on how you like your football. But I'm interested to see, Peter, how that counterbalances out. Is the running more, are they running more so the quarterbacks can get more comfortable, the guys that aren't getting the reps in the preseason like you're talking about, or is this going to be a trend? Speaking of trends, I saw another player wearing a Guardian cap last night. That's the second one through 3 weeks that I have seen. So I thought that was interesting, but it's a good point, Peter. It's a good point. The Niners, again, they're going to be fine. If you're panicking as a Niner fan, don't. If they lose to New England next week, then panic. But I would not panic yet. You've got 2 games against Seattle. And by the way, this is the next 3 weeks, counting against the Rams. You've got New England, and then you play the other 2 teams, Seattle and Arizona division. So you play the entire NFC West in a span of 4 weeks. So it's important. They've got to get it right here. They absolutely do, but I would not be panicking yet. Dennis says, told you they were good. You have to build around him, draft some talent for him. I don't know what their draft situation looks like. What's their, because of what they gave up for Trey Lance. So I don't know how many picks they have, what picks they have. But yeah, they're going to have to build through the draft. There's no doubt about that. They're going to have to do the cheaper contracts. And I'll be interested, too, to see what the contract's going to look like for Brock. I would think outside of Deshaun Watson's deal, which is it's an outlier. Let's be real. It's an outlier. It has bumped up the guaranteed money that some of these guys are seeing, but I would think Brock Purdy's deal is going to be the biggest deal in NFL history. That would be my guess. And it's all on how you structure those deals as well. So what else do you want to talk about from this weekend in the NFL? Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. How about Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones giving everybody a euphemism about how the Cowboys could not afford Derrick Henry after Derrick Henry ran all over them. The Cowboys defense, a complete and utter mess. You know what Lamar Jackson's going to do. You absolutely know the game plan. It's to improv, it's play fakes, it's options. And Lamar, to his credit, ran the offense very well yesterday. Now, they almost blew the lead at the end of the game, and the Cowboys tried to make a late push, but ultimately Baltimore gets back in the winning column. They get their first win of the season. So, Dallas fans, John Finch, what's going on with that team? John, usually this is the time of the year the Cowboys are good. This doesn't usually start to happen until the postseason. Are you worried about that team? But Jerry Jones, come on, my man. It was so bad to me that I didn't even want to put the audio on this show. And he's short, like with his response, he's short and pissed off. Classic Jera. But what did you expect? You got Dak Prescott at the helm. That defense, though, I'm telling you, I thought that defense was going to be a lot better. What they did to Cleveland now, to me, was not as much about what Dallas did and more about what Cleveland didn't do in week 1. I felt the refs help the Cowboys. I felt the refs helped the Cowboys. You felt? Interesting, Flores. Who is the best rookie on the NFL right now? Is it the QB? Is it the wide receiver from New York? Great question. I think right now it's Malik Neighbors. I think it's got to be Neighbors. What he's doing with a very mediocre offense. And Daniel Jones, to his credit, he's played well the last 2 weeks. Daniel Jones has actually played really well. Malik Neighbors is a men amongst boys. So I'm going to say Neighbors, probably the most impressive rookie to this point. Put yours in the chat. Would love to see what you think. Speaking of that, let's talk about the pick'em really quick. I was going to update everybody here in a second anyway, so we might as well do it. All right. Who is this Blue Chaos character? Blue Chaos. Make yourself known. I need to know, Blue Chaos, if you are AI. Blue Chaos, are you a real person? Because you are 31-14 through almost 3 weeks of picking against the spread. That's unreal. That is really good. Then Latvia is 29-16. It's not too bad either. That's really good. Let's see. H Mong Kid, 3rd place, 28-17. B Row stacking C notes, 27-18. Some of you are picking really well. I'm impressed. That takes 4th. Bane, my man.
Yeah, here we go.
Bane, you are 26-19, dude. Dude, Bane, you are picking good. Bane barkling up the wrong tree. 5th place. Maggie, 6th place. 26-19. All right. There you go. Then it goes Maximus. Oh, no. Excuse me. Picks are usually lame. That's Paul. There you go, Paul. Way to get creative. Maximus 209. Steve's a fan. First and Ted. And then Mile High Club. That's your top 11 right now. If you want to know where I'm at, I'm 17th. I'm 17th. So you guys better watch your back, Blue Chaos, Bane, and everybody else. I'm coming for you. I picked a few of the upsets this week. So where do you all stand? Flynnbot, that's a name that I recognize. Corn Dog, where'd you go, my man? Oh, there you are. You're 13th. All right. Corn Dog's 13th. He is now under 500. But what that does mean is going into tonight's game, we have 11 players that are picking over 500. That is really good. I mean, that is really good. So keep it up. Keep it up. We've got gift cards coming to the winner. Yeah, you think it's Corn Dog's burner account? I would be ticked at a lot of you if I found out that you had a burner and you're playing twice. Integrity. Do it the right way. Dennis, I got 6 points in the Pick'em League. Geesh, it's hard. It's hard. You know what I'm going to start doing in the Pick'em League? I'm going to start not looking at the spreads, and I'm just going to go with my gut. Because I looked at, there were 3 or 4 games that my gut told me to go one way, but then I looked at the spread and I'm like, no, I just can't do it. One of them specifically, the Denver and Bucks game, Tampa Bay. And so I'm going with my gut. I'm not looking at spreads anymore. Yes, he does look good. Let's see. Bane, not too far to, dude, you're doing good. Bane, keep it up. Keep it up, Bane. I love it. Flores, I just saw him 38th. How? Well, Flores, since you asked the question, Royalty Purple, Flores, this is how you're 38th. You picked, let's see, you picked New England over the Jets. You picked Cleveland over the Giants. You got the Tennessee Green Bay game wrong. Let's see. Flores. It's the Lord speaking to you right now, trying to turn your picks around. Let's see. You did win one. You got Indy and Chicago, right? Did you guys see Seth Rollins get thrown over his suite? That was pretty funny. Let's see. Pittsburgh. You got that one wrong. Flores, I'm going to go with what you got right. Good job. You got Seattle right. Yeah, dude, my man. You got the Niners game right. There you go, Flores. You're doing a little bit better. And then you got Atlanta right. So, all right, there you go. How about last night, that game, Atlanta and Kansas City? That one was an interesting one. Now, Atlanta came out and they're playing a little, that Drake London connection with Kirk Cousins. I'm impressed there. Very impressed. And they're playing pretty damn good football. I have not had a huge grief outside of their first game where Kirk Cousins did not look right, kind of the same way that Aaron Rodgers didn't look right. That, to me, Peter, if we're going to talk about bad football and giving guys a net for 3 weeks, that was the ultimate net for both of those players. They're coming off their torn Achilles. It just takes some time actually in game. If you got 20 points, you're tied with Grant. Peter, what's Grant's screen name? I don't even know that on here. I should know that, but yeah. Peter, where are you at? Peter's our defending champ. Oh, see, Grant? Look, I'm better than Grant. 21. What's up, Grant? No, I'm just kidding. Grant knows what he's doing. So does Peter. Peter is our defending champion in this league. But anyways, getting back to last night in the Falcons and the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, I don't know what's going on there. I'm not going to speculate. And certainly not going to speculate with anything off the field with Taylor Swift. But one thing's for sure, outside of Kansas City coming out in the third quarter and getting him the ball, I believe, on the first play, the guy's been nearly non-existent, like really non-existent in the offense. In fact, Kansas City really hasn't gone to him as much as they typically do. And I'll say this, if you look at Travis Kelce's body style, doesn't it look like he's leaned out a little bit? I'm not saying that that is affecting his play, but he does look like he's leaned out a little bit. But Patrick Mahomes, what can you say about this guy? Even when he struggles, throws picks, this team, the Chiefs, find a way to pull through. Now, the fatal mistake here to me last night was not the Falcons going for it on fourth down. That was not the mistake. The mistake was running the ball on fourth down. In that play or in that situation, you're typically going to see a quarterback sneak. But because of Kirk Cousins, and really, I mean, Kirk, not the most mobile guy, but then you throw the Achilles in there and you parlay that together. That's not going to happen. You got a big likelihood of him getting hurt in that situation. You got to run some type of bootleg when they're stacking the box like that, in my opinion. And they did not. They get stuffed. Hell of a play. Steve Spagnuolo, his defenses continue to come through and show through for Kansas City. So they get the win in Atlanta. The Green Bay Packers. How about the Packers? Making it work, getting through it without Jordan Love. Jordan Love probably will be back this week. He was close. I don't think he was actually close this week. I think they wanted the Titans to think he was close. But Malik Willis gets it done for the Packers. No puke on the ball, so we're good there this week from the center. But now you get a Jordan Love, a healthy Jordan Love back into the fold. Watch the hell out. I think the Packers might still be a damn good pick for the NFC. They have quietly played well. So congrats to the Packers on that. Dave, what's up, man? No comment, but what's up, Dave? Happy to have you here on a Monday, or as Bane said, a Tuesday.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, Dave, that escalated quickly. Look at that. Bane, why can I see Dave's emojis and I can't see yours, Bane? What kind of weird emojis are you using, Bane? Bane. And by the way, Blue Chaos, make yourself known. I want to know who you are. And it's not because I want to get your picks and gamble. That's not it. I don't gamble, but I am interested. Latvia, too. I want to know who you are, too. 29-16. 13 games, Latvia, over 500. Blue Chaos, 17. Check that. 17 games over 500 in the Pick'em League. Incredible We'll see. We will see. That's the thing about the Pick'em League. Hey, in fact, if you want to get in the Pick'em League, it is not too late to get in. This is probably, I said this last week, was going to be your last chance. But with the way that some of us are picking, like myself, it might not be too late. Get in there, start picking. You could probably pick tonight's games, and then pick the rest of the season. Who knows? You might be able to come through. Inevitably, there's somebody that will forget to pick games at least once a season. It happens to all of us. Somebody hit me up on DMs and told me it happened to them this week. So there's still a little bit of room for error, but make sure you get in there today. We're giving away 2 $100 gift cards to the winner. Third year that we have done it. So you get the bragging rights around here on if you don't like that when you win the fantasy pick'em leagues. It's the only fantasy that we do. Peter, our current champion, and then C-Dog, Connor, not Corn Dog, C-Dog, won the year before that. So make sure you get in there. Would love to have you get in the league with us. And then don't forget, again, Grant and I, we're going to be back, and that's why we're going early today. We're going to be back tonight, 4 o'clock. We're going to get you ready for the games. You got 2 Monday Night Football games. First one kicking off at 4:30, Buffalo and Jacksonville. And then you've got Cincinnati. You got the Bengals and the Commanders. In fact, let's talk about those games really quick. Which way is everybody going tonight? Well, we might as well start with the first one, right? Oh, you know what? Let's freshen it up really quick. Did you guys hear what Vlade said? I've only been saying it for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years about why he didn't draft Luka. We're going to keep this really brief, and I'm going to paraphrase for Vlade. He didn't draft Luka because I already had De'Aaron Fox. Grant and I have said it a million times on this channel. Had the Kings drafted Luka, that would have been the end of the De'Aaron Fox era. And you would have had to build the team specifically around Luka, much like Dallas has done. It would not have worked between Fox and Luka. Halliburton and Fox, technically at points, did not work. So, not breaking news, but Vlade did come out and say that. I forget in what form he said it, but there it is. That is what we have said many a times. Came straight from Vlade himself. I already had De'Aaron Fox. So, getting back to tonight's games, let's start with Buffalo and Jacksonville. This one is a really confusing game to me. I mean, a really confusing game. I don't know where to go. Logic tells me it's Buffalo, right? Buffalo has had some very impressive performances. Most recently, they blew out the Dolphins, right? They returned home. Bills Mafia. As we sit right now, somebody is probably jumping off of a bus through a burning table. What's up, by the way, Margot in Buffalo, if you're watching this. Hello. Anyways, so logic tells me it's the Bills. Then you look at the line, right? The Bills are, as we sit right now, 4.5 point favorites. And as for the Jaguars, they're 0-2. The Jags have looked bad this year. They're without Evan Ingram. He got injured. Their tight end, remember, got injured in warmups last week. Trevor Lawrence on the season, not terrible, not great. The running game for Jacksonville, ETN, can be effective at times. He had a couple of touchdowns earlier in the season. So what's going to give here? Is this Buffalo team legit? Like, is Buffalo for real? They're 2-0 as we sit, but are they as good as they looked against Miami? Or was Miami just that bad? And remember, week 1 for Buffalo, the only time Buffalo led that game was with time expiring with a game-winning field goal. So this one, to me, has all the makings of a struggle game for Buffalo. There's so many times, and Josh Allen has been playing really good football, by the way. Running game, James Cook had 3 touchdowns against Miami. He's played good football. Up front, the Bills have been pretty good, but sometimes the Bills don't show up. And to me, this feels like, especially with the Jaguars making the trip to Buffalo, Jacksonville seems like they're desperate. Their season with the NFC South, or excuse me, the AFC South, in that division down there, is on the line. They can't go 0-3. I think this one, at the very minimum, I think the Jaguars cover. I think the Jaguars win this game tonight. I think you're going to get a letdown from Buffalo. Buffalo sometimes, again, I'll say it, I can't give you the numbers because I don't have them. I'm going off my gut here, but they play down to the level of their competition, and they especially do that at home. They've had some extra time to get right. Remember, Al Michaels reminded us of this like 9 times after Tua was knocked out of the game. So which way are you going tonight? I'm going to go Jacksonville plus the 4.5 points. Let me know which way you are going on this one. Miami was bad. Peter says it was bad. There you go. Thank you very much. It was a Croatian media outlet index. Read the article on Riam. Good job. Thank you for picking me up, Peter. Flores, how many 0-2 teams won this weekend? Baltimore, the Giants, right? Who else? Baltimore, the Giants. Who are the other 0-2 teams that won this weekend? Carolina. Carolina would be another one. We haven't even got to that. How about Andy Dalton? Does that tell you that Bryce Young was the problem in Carolina? I don't think so. I think the Raiders defense was banged up, but definitely Andy Dalton is a better quarterback as we sit than Bryce Young. And by the way, teams have reached out about Bryce Young, inquiring about his status. The Panthers have no plans to trade him as we sit today. So that probably, my guess, would be an off-season move. Peter, Miami lost a lot of players from last year's defense. Yes, they did. It's a very good point. Lost a very important defense lineman there. So of the first 2 games, Buffalo, Jacksonville, I'm going Jacksonville. I think their backs against the wall. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to come out and have a strong game. I really do. Look, I hope I'm wrong, because Buffalo, this is one of those years, much like the 49ers, they've got to get it done. Sean McDermott, excuse me, has got to get it done. There's a lot of pressure in Buffalo to get a championship and make a deep run. Second night game tonight, Bengals, Commanders. Such a similar situation, right? It really is. I talked about it at the top of the show. The Bengals play up and down to their opponents. They're kind of the kings of the NFL, in my opinion. And what about Washington? And by the way, Bengals, they get T. Higgins back tonight. So this will be the first time Joe Burrow is going to have a complete receiver core. But Jaden Daniels, a lot of excitement in Washington. They got the game-winning field goal last week against the Giants. Scrambling quarterback. You've got 2 completely different matchups. But the question becomes, what defense is going to show up tonight for Cincinnati? Is it going to be the defense that showed up in Kansas City? Or is it going to be that awful defense? And is it going to be that slow offense that doesn't really open up, where Joe Burrow struggles and the pass game is not flowing? This one, to me, is just as difficult to pick because, again, it's not so much about the Commanders. It's about the Bengals to me. I worry, but the Bengals are too damn good to go 0-3. I just think they're too good. You get T. Higgins back. They're at home, which will be really good for them. They lost their first game at home this season. I think this one, while it's going to have its moments, this will probably be the worst of the two games. I'm going Bengals -7 as I sit right now, but I go back to that gut feeling. I don't know. Jaden Daniels, prime time, first time. Could it be the Commanders? Do they have enough? Austin Eckler, what can he do? I don't know. Which way are you all going? I'm still a little wishy-washy, but as I sit here and talk to you, I'm going to go Bengals. So give me your thoughts on that one. Yeah, we already got that. Peter hopping back in. Buffalo all the way. I have Christian Kirk in my fantasy football league. Don't even start. Jags brought in Gabe Davis and drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Yeah. And, think about this. You guys know my relationship with Tony Khan, right? I am not one to hold back on Tony Khan. So the fact that I'm picking Tony Khan's team to win, that tells you something. That's a strong feeling, but you're not wrong. You are not wrong, Peter. John hopping back in as we get ready to get out. The best thing about my team is my kicker. Did I see that? I did. Brandon Aubrey, 65 yards. Incredible. He's a great kicker. He's got some distance. He has got some leg. But John, the kicker should not be the best thing about your team, my friend. Which team is in a better situation to bounce back? The Cowboys or the Niners? I'm going to say the Niners. That seems pretty obvious, but I would be interested to get your answer, John. Let's see. I picked the Raiders kicker, and he got me 2 points. I don't even. Okay, we'll finish the show here. We'll finish here because we're going to get ready to get out. Grant and I are coming back tonight, 4:00. Make sure you're back. We will be talking NFL. We'll get you ready for both Monday Night Football games. And who knows, maybe my picks will change because they are subject to change. But lay it on me. If you got fantasy frustrations, lay them on me. Who let you down? Who hooked you up this week? I can tell you, that whole punishment that we brainstormed for one of my fantasy football leagues, it's looking like I'm going to end up with the punishment. Because not only do I have Christian McCaffrey, who in our league, by the way, you only have 2 bench players. We're on sleeper. So you only have 2 bench players and you only start 1 at each position. So you've got 1 receiver, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 kicker, 1 defense. My team's a mess, an absolute mess. So how is your guys? Is that punishment is probably going to end up being my punishment. There you go, Dennis. Hubbard hooked it up from Carolina. Yeah! That gets a yeah. I know, Ryan. Thanks, buddy. John, you know what? I love messing with you. You're a good sport about it, especially when we hit you with the how about them Cowboys on a live show. You took that well. Peter, I'm taking Buffalo, which is 5.5 favorite over Jags. Taking Washington, which is a 7.5 underdog to Cincy. Okay, see, Peter, we're going opposite, but for the right reasons. I feel like because both teams, the Bengals and the Bills, both sometimes do not show up at home. Jaden Daniels, I'm thinking about. Peter, answer me this. How's that Bengals pass rush? I haven't done a deep dive on their pass rush. I'm trying to think back at how they did with containing Mahomes last week. I don't think it was bad. I thought it was actually decent. In fact, yeah, they actually had a good pass rush, but they didn't spy well. So, all right, well, we might change. We'll see. Cowboys trap game. Yeah, definitely. John's taking the Bengals and the Bills. John's taking the favorites. There you go. All right. Well, we're going to get out. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. So I'll look that up before the 4:00 show, but I'm wondering with Daniels, how well they'll spy him. These are interesting games tonight. They really are. Man, I'm really leaning towards going both underdogs. 7 points. Do they get 7 points? Because this is one where the Commanders could just do what the Commanders normally do and don't show up. But sometimes they played well on national TV. Tricky. Well, hey, think about it. See if anything changes and come back at 4 o'clock and let us know. Grant and I will be here talking everything NFL. Also, we'll probably get a little college in. I'm sure Corn Dog is going to call and want to talk about that. So we will go around the league. Remember, no Jerry Reynolds show tomorrow. No Jerry Reynolds show Tuesday because I am going to be having my dental surgery. So unless you want me showing up looking like this and maybe drooling, probably a good day to take off. But we will be back 4 o'clock tonight, getting you ready for Monday Night Football. It'll be good to talk to Grant, see if he's excited about that Giants win. Also, we'll probably talk some more about the Fantasy Pick'em League as well. Do us a favor, make sure you are subscribed on YouTube, especially with the NBA season coming up. And then don't forget Wednesdays, Grant and Sean Salisbury, 3 o'clock. Make sure also you're subscribed to the King's Court. I know most of you are, but if you're not, would love to have you subscribe, and you get all the daily audio, different, fresh, exclusive audio that's not on the live show. So make sure you're a part of that as well. And again, a huge thanks to Bennett for sponsoring today's show. All right, we will be back 4 o'clock. Looking forward to it. Hope you can join us. Huge thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you to Corn Dog for the call. Just about an hour and a half away from Grant and Ryan Open Forum. Make it a great one, everybody. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Court is dismissed until Wednesday. But come back, 4 o'clock. Open Forum, NFL pregame. Grant and Ryan right here on If You Don't Like That.